It's Wednesday, 7th July 2021. Good evening. Welcome to News Night on Metro Television. We're live from our studio C on Dr. Isaac Street, North Ridge, in Accra, live on the STV channel 277 and live on Facebook at Metro News. My name is Noble Crosby Annan.
My name is Nana Yawenchi. Coming up in 60 minutes. South Dai MP heads to the Supreme Court to challenge Parliament's approval of payment of monthly salaries for the spouses of President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Bawumia, despite their exclusion from Article 71 office holders. Per the Constitution, is there a legal basis for this? We'll hear from a lawyer.
Also coming up, Vice Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Patrick Boama, urges the House to reject what he considers an unrealistic $28 million car loan agreement to buy vehicles for all 275 MPs proposed by the Finance Minister.
ENI's new well discovery to deliver 5,000 barrels per day, according to information released by the Ministry of Energy. What does this mean for the economy? We'll bring you in business.
In sports, we bring you updates on the Euro 2020 semi-finals match between the Three Lions of England and the men from Copenhagen, Denmark.
And later on in our foreign news on the international front, an unprecedented legal drama is gripping South Africa as former President Jacob Zuma urges the courts to block a midnight deadline for his arrest by the police.
Hello and welcome to the program. Of First Story this evening. Vice Chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee and MP for Kaikwe Central, Patrick Boama, is urging members of Parliament to reject what he considers an unrealistic proposed $28 million car loan agreement with the National Investment Bank for purchase of vehicles for all 275 MPs. Finance Minister Ken Ofori has presented a loan agreement for $28 million to Parliament for the purchase of 275 vehicles for members of Parliament. Now, based on the amount and the number of individuals involved, each MP is expected to receive over $100,000 for the purchase of a vehicle. Now, the Finance Committee of the House is expected to consider the loan agreement and report to the House.
If I have my way, I'll ask MPs to reject the loan and ask government to procure vehicles for us. For us to use in the performance of our duties. After 4 years, we leave the vehicles for them. Because before I started taking my salary in the 8th Parliament, I was given a notice that from February, a certain amount of money will be deducted from my salary in anticipation of this loan, which is yet to be approved in July. So from February, I started paying.
That was last year.
This year, 8th Parliament. Okay. I started paying, even though I hadn't seen the loan. That one, nobody saw anything wrong with that. But the president, down the line to ministers, you are MPs. You are journalists in Parliament, you see ministers. They come here with official vehicles. Some have the four-wheel and the saloon. Nobody complains. The members of the judiciary, they do. Nobody has complained. MPs, they are not having it for free. They are procuring a loan. That one, there's a problem. That one. So I think we need to interrogate it if the public thinks that MPs don't deserve a vehicle to work with.
Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for South Dai, Roxanne Dafiamapo, in an interview with Metro News, has defended the loan agreement for the purchase of the vehicle for members of Parliament. According to him, there is currently no vehicle alternative since some new MPs, anytime they have to be coming to Parliament, use Uber or taxis.
The question you have to ask my brother, the Honorable Patrick Boama, the MP for Kaikwe Central, is that what alternative exists for members of Parliament to get official vehicles to be able to perform their functions of office? There's none. So he belongs to the party that is in government. He should tell the government that it appears that it is time the state makes arrangements to acquire official vehicles for members of parliament. Indeed, I am not happy that my salary since January has been deducted towards the purchase of a vehicle that I am here to see.
Well, since January,
yes. Go. You see, you sometimes people should do some background check. Go to accounts and find out whether they are not deducting at source every month heavy monies from the salaries from each MP. They are doing so in anticipation that a loan will be given to the MPs to purchase their official vehicles. So far, so much has been taken away from MPs.
The problem is, what is the alternative?
So the problem is with the government, is with the state, not the member of parliament. That is what the member of parliament has come to meet. If there is an alternative, if you have choices that, okay, there's a loan for, as a member of parliament, there's a loan for you to take to purchase your official vehicle. That's option one. Option two, the state is capable of buying official vehicles for you. Okay. Option three, the state to buy official vehicle, but you share the cost. If these options were available and members are taking one without reasonable justification, then we could be criticizing. But there's no other alternative. So, look, new members who are in this house are arriving here. As the security, sometimes they frustrate the Uber drivers. So you has to take the honorable member to say, oh, officer, it is me, or member for so and so and so. Because they don't allow Uber into these premises. But when the honorable member is sitting in Uber to come to parliament, can the security man say no?
We're joined via phone to speak to the issue by Dr. Rashid Rahman, the Executive Director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs. So you're welcome to Newsnight. What is your take on the proposed agreement? Could Parliament have considered other alternatives? And does this in any way, what image does it cast of Ghana's Parliament?
Well, thank you very much for having me. You know, this is a debate that we've had in this country, you know, over the last 20, 30 years. I mean, each time there's a new parliament, this issue comes up. And for me, my position over the years has been that, look, what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. If all, the other branches of government get money, get official vehicles to run their official duties, from the district chief executive in my village to the regional minister to the minister of state. I don't see why members of parliament, who are the strongest link in our democracy, should be saddled with this burden every 4 years to take a loan to go and buy a car and do official business. And in taking the loan, it generates a lot of unnecessary debate in this country. Ordinarily, if there was a way of providing members of parliament, just like other branches of government, with official vehicles, they use those vehicles, do their parliamentary business. When they leave those vehicles behind. Those who come in the next parliament take over those vehicles, or maybe they could be auctioned or whatever. The way it is handled in the other branches of government, right. We wouldn't be having these debates every 4 years. It casts members of parliament in a very bad light, and I think that it's very unfortunate for our members of parliament that they find themselves in this situation where they are supposed to be approving laws like this, and then an impression is created that is going to be for their personal benefit. I think we need to separate that. Many people have raised questions now and in the past, whether given our economic conditions and so on, we can afford to be providing members of parliament these kinds of loans and so on. And for me, I think it's a loan. They are going to pay it. So I mean, I don't understand all these debate and noise about it. For me, I think I would strongly support a position where members of parliament are treated equally like other branches of government.
Right. Dr. Rashid Rahman, thanks so much for your submissions on Newsnight. You've been speaking with the Executive Director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Rashid Rahman.
Now, the Member of Parliament for Saudai, Roxin Dafiamapo, tells Metro News he's heading to the Supreme Court to challenge the decision by government to adopt a report by the Emolument Committee regarding the payment of monthly salaries to the spouses of President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. The recommendation, which was approved by the last Parliament, was made up of a 5-member committee set up in the June 2019 by President to make recommendation on the salaries and other benefits and privileges of Article 71 office holders. The approval by Parliament has now formalized the payment of remuneration to the first and second ladies, Rebecca Akufo-Addo and Samira Bawumia, who were placed on allowances until now. We will now be hearing from the Saudai MP, Roxin Dafiamapo.
It's a very simple matter. My position is that, first, the committee hasn't got the mandate to make that recommendation, because their mandate was to review emoluments of Article 71 office holders, and it is a closed bracket. Article 71 office holders are mentioned. The spouses of the president and the vice are not listed. So if some committee decides to do their own thing, they are acting ultra vires their mandate of the Constitution. But because that recommendation had been smuggled through the report and gone through the approval process, the only forum to test this process or this issue is the Supreme Court. It's as simple as that. By close of tomorrow, I will file my writ, and when I do so, we shall interrogate the matters.
As a concerned citizen, okay, it's very heartbreaking. Okay, it's very heartbreaking because there are so many things that I have no idea.
The youth wing of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has today announced a hashtag no salary uprising across the nation in protest against government's adoption of a report by an emolument committee which will see the spouses of the first and second gentlemen officially enjoy salaries from the government of Ghana. The statement issued by the National Youth Organizer of the NDC, George Opariado, which is currently rolled on the screen. A bit of it I want to share with you. It says for immediate release, NDC Youth Wing to challenge approval of salaries for Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo and Mrs. Samira Bawumia. And it says, Accra, 7th July 2021, the Youth Wing of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has become aware of news item which is attributed to the Information Minister, Honorable Kojo Nkrumah. The Parliament has approved recommendations of the Professor Ya Intiamwa Wedu's led commission on the emolument for Article 71 office holders, for which spouses of the President Akufo-Addo and Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia will receive same monthly salary as the cabinet ministers. So we will be bringing you a conversation at the back of this as we seek more clarification as to, the legal basis for this, and as a nation, whether our economy is indeed ready to receive all these payments.
Let's speak with Emmanuel Bombandi. He's a former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister and a conflict resolution, peace building and development professional. So you're welcome to Newsnight. Of what good does it serve the country if the nation proceeds to pay salaries to the first and the second ladies?
Thank you for the invite. Let's start from the fact that anything that divides the nation is not a good policy. And that is why our institutional structures are such that the political discourse, as much as possible, should bring us around a common understanding of how we want to appreciate a particular policy in place. Now, what I am hearing from listening to your interlocutors is very simple, that spouses of the president and vice presidents are not Article 71 office holders. And because of that, it creates a constitutional problem. Now, the second reason why this is not good for us is because you cannot be chipping away on the fundamental law of the land that holds your peace and guarantees your stability. Because when you begin to chip away at the Constitution by undermining it, then you begin to chip away on the respect for the rule of law, which then begins to erode into your peace and stability, and you don't want to add another layer of social agitation, which then creates its own tensions. So at these two levels, it's not good for us. And the third one is what you mentioned before you asked me the question, which is, if you look at the post-pandemic period and our common effort to build back, the priorities are such that every little money we have should be wisely and prudently used, and not to be seen by people to be expended in areas that are frivolous.
Okay. The Information Minister, Kojo Nkrumah, alludes to the fact that this has been an ongoing practice since the days of former President J. Kufuor. Government of Ghana, President Kufuor and his government, is only making it official. Doesn't this in any way protect what is happening? Would you rather that we continue doing this in the unofficial way?
So what we need to do is to have clarity on the semantics. There have been such support as allowances that the state takes responsibility for certain categories of people. These are not emoluments under Article 71 office holders. That is what makes the distinguishing feature. So don't confuse allowances that have been paid in the past to support offices of the first ladies, and for that matter, spouses who have been widowed, etc., and compare that to Article 71 office holders. And the two are separate, so that people do not get confused and begin to see this as something that can be lumped together. And the emphasis is that they are completely separate, they are different, and they should not be put together at all.
On the back of this, will the president be perpetuating some form of illegality, even though the 7th Parliament approved the report?
You see, but the 7th Parliament approval is incumbent on the presidential endorsement and final approval. So the president can resign his decision and the matter is concluded. Because the president is the commander-in-chief. He's the chief executive. And he will be the first gentleman of the land who will not want to see the Constitution being, so to speak, disrespected. So what then he could do is to say, I probably read this wrongly, I was probably not well advised on this, and listening to Ghanaians across board, I think this is not the right policy to implement, and then take a step back. And the reason I say this is because it came to Ghanaians as a surprise. Even if, yes, we can go with the statement of the Honorable Minister for Information, but keep in mind that the members of Parliament are representatives of the people. And the representatives of the people must inform and be informed about what the people want as their priorities. Did we get that opportunity in Parliament? Were the people carried along? Did we participate in the debate? Was there a political discourse, including carrying along the people? And everybody would say that no, this was one of the last agenda items of the 7th Parliament. It was quickly passed. Barely did we have the opportunity to look at it closely, and then all of a sudden it has been sprung on us. On all these premises, the president can say that, wait a minute, there is a problem here, I can take a step back and let us leave it there.
Okay, Mr. Bombande Nanenchi here. Does this kind of affirm the thought that the legislator kind of approved that of the executive, and then the executive also approved that of the legislature. At the back of, we seen that Parliament had indeed approved this.
But if you look at the way you have framed it, the logic is a counter accountability mechanism, so that the executive is not seen to be deciding on their own emoluments, and that Parliament should be setting it for them, and vice versa, they should be setting up for Parliament. Okay. So if we go by that logic, what implicitly it means is that accountability should be expanded. After all, the consolidated fund is the people's money. It's the taxpayers' money. So if you want that logic of executive and Parliament working to hold each other accountable, how then do you achieve that when you have not carried the people along with you? Right. And the voices of the people is the voice of God. And what the people are saying is, it doesn't matter that mechanism that was instituted or put in place, the policy as we are discussing it now is wrong, particularly at this time when we are looking for fairness and equity in how we are building back an economy post-pandemic. Right. And let me say that it is on the basis of this logic that Ghanaians appreciated when the president said he was not going to increase the salaries of ministers precisely because we are trying to recover from a pandemic.
Right.
And then you bring in this element, which then complicates the very argument which the president is mindful about, which is recovery from the pandemic and making good use of the resources we have.
Mr. Bombande, it's always good speaking with you.
much.
Thank you so much for the insight you shared with us. We've been speaking with Emmanuel Bombande. He is a former Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister and a conflict resolution, peace building and development professional.
Let's just stay on this subject. And a burning question about the payment of salaries to Ghana's first and second lady, Rebecca Akufo-Addo and Samira Bawumia, is whether or not there is a legal basis when it comes to paying the first and second ladies as far as the salaries are concerned. We will be speaking to a legal researcher, Benjamin Antiedu. Very good evening to you and welcome to Newsnight, sir.
Good evening, my brother, and good evening to Ghanaians and your viewers.
Okay, thank you so much. Help us understand if there is a legal basis as far as the payment of the salaries for the First Lady and then Samira Bawumia is concerned when they are not captured as Article 71 holders.
Okay, so the payment that has been referenced by the Minister for Information is in respect of payments that were approved by the 7th Parliament, getting to the end of the term of the 7th Parliament. So I assume that definitely those were the payments captured under Article 71, that a committee, there will be a presidential committee of emolument that will approve salaries and allowances for certain public office holders. And you have some members in that category being the Speaker and Deputy Speakers and members of Parliament. You have the Chief Justice and other justices of the Superior Courts. And then you have the Auditor General and the rest. So the statement that the salaries of the First Lady and that of the Second Lady were approved under this kind of arrangement definitely will be outside the mandate given under Article 71. And in fact, the Committee on Emoluments will not have any mandate at all to consider such proposal or recommendation for Parliament to even proceed. Okay, because if you look at even the statement from the Minister, he talks about this kind of payment to former First and Second Ladies who are alive since Professor Nelson's time. But you can see that there's no law under the Constitution. There's no office, recognized office of the First Lady or the Second Lady. We don't have it also under any enactment. So we can safely say that yes, that office, those two offices are not public offices. Okay, within the contemplation of the Constitution, because the public office is the one established with the funds of the Republic or by funds approved by Parliament. Okay, you don't have this done, but it has been done administratively or at the executive level where this arrangement has been made. And then the information I gather is that this arrangement was made to formalize more or less what has been done administratively. But that is where there's a difficulty, because this window was not the appropriate window at all for such approval to be made. It could have been done under the office of the president through a budget. Then you are saying that this there is official assignment to these individuals, and for that reason, some monies will be made available to them. That would have been appropriated in that sense under the budget. But to pass it under Article 71 or through the medium specifically given to the Presidential Emoluments Committee was not the appropriate, medium.
Okay, Council, does it then mean that the Emolument Committee was acting outside its authority to recommend
exactly. So
the payments?
Definitely it acted, ultra vires. Yes, it acted ultra vires. But the point that they will make is that from the minister's statement, then the recommendation came from the president to the committee. But whatever it is, the committee's mandate should have been referenced to Article 71.
Okay.
To say that, well, you gave us this extra mandate, but it's clearly outside our mandate in this respect. So somebody would say that whatever they approved or whatever they recommended could not have been approved under Article 71.
What
if it were approved under budget for some purpose, that, some official assignment has been given. Because for us to pay anybody, there should be a function attached to that. Yes, we know that our first ladies, our second ladies have been performing critical roles, but we don't know these specific roles that we can even make assessment of. So how do we even ensure that those functions are even performed?
Okay.
So we have to come clear, and then particularly this medium under Article 71 was not the appropriate medium per my understanding of the law.
What do you think will be the chances of Honorable Dafiamako as he heads to the Supreme Court tomorrow?
Well, as for chances, we leave it. We say the law is in the bosom of the judges. But the point to make is that, once Parliament is the one that has the power over the purse, so the public funds of Ghana is Parliament that allocates. Proposals may come from the President, but it's Parliament that allocates. So somebody will argue that once there was approval by Parliament, okay, then we shouldn't care about who submitted the proposal. Okay, so that can be the argument. There can also be somebody who will look at the law in a very narrow sense and say that once the committee acted ultra vires, then everything that the committee did was a nullity and couldn't have been stamped or regularized by the legislative action.
Okay, thanks so much for your time. Lawyer Benjamin Antiedu, it's always a pleasure speaking with you as far as these legal issues are concerned.
Well, Metro News took to the streets. We asked a couple of Ghanaians what they make of this development, and this is what they had to say. Take a listen.
Okay, it's very heartbreaking. Okay, it's very heartbreaking because there are so many things that I have no idea how much they're going to be paid though, but there are so many things here in Ghana that specific amount of money they're going to be used to pay the first ladies, and then the second first lady can be used for. Okay, just come to think of it. Recently there was a fire outbreak at Mokola. Do you understand? And I stand to be corrected. The whole Accra Central, we only had 2 fire service stations. They came and they couldn't even quench the fires. It's really heartbreaking. Trust me, if I don't take care, I might end up insulting. I don't want to go that far. It's not necessary. Why would they have to be paid?
I don't think it's a good idea for the president's spouse to be paid. Because if you are paying him, your spouse, just because you're a president, then other workers to have the right to say that their spouses are equally supposed to be paid. I don't see them doing any tedious thing for them to pay. Personally, I don't think it's a good idea.
It is very good to pay them because it's Ghana money. It's good. What is wrong with it? There's nothing wrong. So if me to one day, God help me, I become a president. So my wife, salary. So we should clap for the parliamentary way approve this one, including the Speaker Abangbabe, or what is his name. So that is good.
Well, then they can equally give them some allowances, just something small, but not being paid every month. If you talk about salary, that means they're going to get something at the end of every month. And I don't think it's a wise decision.
So I actually don't think so, because most of them already have jobs that they are doing. I know they are doing great work for the country, but it's mostly on a voluntary basis. So salaries, I don't think so. Allowances are okay, but salary.
You're watching News Night on Metro Television. Let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you more stories. Stay with us.
The search for a reliable partner in dealing with in the sale of U-turn buses, genuine spare parts, its repairs and maintenance at our highly effective workshop with
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
You're welcome from the break. Still watching News Night here on Metro Television. To our next story, 3 heads in the Ashanti region have appeared before the 3-member committee sitting on the Ejura killing today, Wednesday, July 7, 2021, at the Prempeh Assembly Hall in Kumasi. They included the General Officer Commanding for the Central Command, Brigadier General Joseph Alpha, the Deputy Ashanti Regional Police Commander DCOP David Ajiman, and the Ejura Secretary Dumasi District Police Commander DSP Philip Hammond. Also appeared before the committee was the CCTV journalist Edward Opon Mafo, who also gave his eyewitness account on the incident at Ejura. These are some excerpts from the sit-in filed by Ashanti Regional Correspondent Abdul Basit Suleiman.
Lieutenant Colonel Kwesi Pepra, commanding officer of the 4th Infantry Battalion, revealed to the committee that shooting of the gun fired might have come out of the crowd. According to him, when the military got to the grounds, the irate youth of Ejura were holding fighting gadgets, so who may know whether the gun fired which hit 2 protesters which led to their death may be the protesters. Lieutenant Colonel also revealed that the army officer who knelt down was not aiming to shoot someone, but kneeling, sitting and standing are some positions in shooting. He cleared the air that even the angle where the gun was pointing towards, no one was recorded to have died from there. That simply means that the military officer did not fire the gun.
I had a call from the chairman of RECSEC that the situation was getting out of control and that there was a need for us as Operation Calm Life, already we were cooperating with the police, to move inside and do something. If not, things will get out of control seriously.
The Deputy Ashanti Regional Police Commander, DCOP David Ajiman, shared views about security analyst submission on the incident, which he said he has not been helpful.
We dispatched a team stationed in the region from the FPU headquarters and another team from our SWAT unit to also go and assist with our strength in Ejura.
Also at the committee to testify were the Ejura Secretary Dumasi District Police Commander DSP Philip Hammond and CCTV's journalist Edward Opon Mafo.
There was a report filed by Abdul Basit Suleiman and read to you by my colleague Elvis Ando. Away from that story, Presidential Advice on Health, Dr. Anthony Insiasara has debunked claims that Ghana is currently experiencing a third wave of COVID-19 infections. According to him, the country is currently experiencing surges in infections. However, the threat of a third wave is increasingly potent. These and more came up in a conversation with Francisca Kakrafosing on Good Afternoon Ghana.
There are waves within our sub-region, within the world. You see, we have the world is a global village. So once any country has a wave, there's a potential wave coming towards you. So what is happening now? We started seeing surges. A wave is that continuously there will be a very rapid increase in the number of cases. We are seeing increase in number of cases, but it's not as rapid as we see when a wave is coming. So I will call it surges. Okay. But we are mindful that if you are not very careful, what happened in June, July, and what happened in January, February, March can happen. It started like that. So we are very, very mindful that I will not say we are in a third wave. I will say that we are having surges, and if we are not very careful and we don't go strictly by the protocols, we will go into a third wave. So far, so good. But we are not out of the woods yet.
You're still watching Newsnight here on Metro Television. Is next is business with Winston Jackie. Hi, Winston.
Hello, Nana Entry.
What's up in business?
In business, the freight forwarders are indeed contemplating to government that indeed they need to reduce the prices of freight charges. And I have on the line shortly the Ghana Union of Traders Association, who are complaining to government that this has to really come down. This and more coming to you shortly here on Newsnight. Now, the lead operator of the offshore Cape 3 Point Eni has announced a significant oil discovery in Ghana with the potential to produce 700 million barrels of oil equivalent. The company in a statement said the discovery was made on the Iban exploration prospect in Cape 3 Point Block 4 offshore. Ghana testing data show a deliverability of a potential of 5,000 barrels of oil per day, similar to what's already in production from the Sankofa field in Ghana.
The statement said, and I quote, "The new discovery has been assessed following comprehensive analysis of extensive 3D seismic data sets, well data acquisition, including pressure measurements, fluid sampling, and intelligent formation testing with state-of-the-art technology. The acquired pressure and fluid data and reservoir properties are consistent with the previous discovery of Akoma and nearby Sankofa field. The production testing data show a well deliverability potential estimated at 5,000 BOPD, similar to the wells already in production from Sankofa field." The statement further disclosed that, due to its proximity to existing infrastructures, the new discovery can be fast-tracked to production with a subsea tie-in to the John Ajekum Kufuor FPSO, with the aim to extend its production plateau and increase production. The Iban discovery is a testimony to the success of the infrastructure-led exploration strategy that ENI is carrying out in its core assets worldwide, unquote. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Energy has issued a statement saying it notes with delight an announcement by the ENI group of a significant oil discovery in Block 4 offshore Ghana. The Energy Ministry concluded their press statement by saying that it is expected that the warm relations that exist between Ghana and ENI will be considered further with this new discovery as we enter a new and hopefully exciting phase of this relationship.
Now let's go to some freight-related issues. The Ghana Union of Traders Association expressed worry about the high freight charges at the port. According to the union president, Dr. Joseph Obin, the prevailing situation at the port is unacceptable and wants government to make immediate action, particularly when prices of commodities, among others, have gone up astronomically. Joining us online at the moment is Dr. Joseph Obin, the president of GUTA. Welcome to Newsnight, Dr. Obin.
Yeah, thank you. Please, your line is not clear at all.
Is it better now?
I think it's okay.
Thank you. Now, we want to understand what is the situation, the implication of the increase in freight charges on your operations.
Your line is still breaking, but if maybe I'm struggling to understand.
We can hear you, please. We can hear you clearly.
What is happening is that the freight charges have gone up astronomically high, from $3,000 to about $13,000 now. And that's why we are appealing with the authorities to, especially the Ghana Revenue Authority, not to use the prevailing freight charges to calculate for the duties. If it is done, then it means that most businesses are going to collapse, because it is related with COVID. These things are related with COVID, and we know government is giving a whole lot of reliefs with COVID-related things, and that's why we are appealing to government to.
We want to understand this. We know that the freight sector possibly are manned by independent operators, and in that case, how is government playing any role in that fixing of their prices?
No, you see, freight charges is something that goes beyond the government. So we are not talking about the freight charges per se, but when it comes to computing the duty for payment, then customs factors or add up the freight charges to the invoice value before it calculates the duty for you. And since the increase in since the increment of the freight charges, customs have been using the old freight charges, that is the $3,000 that I was talking about, instead of the new, that is $12,000. Because otherwise, when they add the 12 or 13,000 to the invoice values, then of course it will be very difficult for us to pay.
So what rate reduction do you expect from government? Percentage?
Oh, no, what we are saying is that government should, because this increase is artificial, it's not something that is going to be permanent, and also it is there because of the COVID. That's why we are saying that because government is mitigating against the COVID effects, then old freight charges should be maintained for the calculation of duties. This is all that we are saying. So that because when commodity prices have gone up astronomically high, and that's why people are saying that goods and services have gone up in the market. So we have to see to the plight of the consuming public as well as the trading community. That's what we are pleading.
Dr. Obin, thank you for your time.
Take care of it for us.
Point well made. That was Dr. Obin, the president of Ghana Union of Traders Association. Now let's bring you an update from the interbank market tonight. On the interbank board tonight, the cedi is trading against the dollar at the pound sterling at 7 cedi 99 pesos and against the euro at 6 cedi 84 pesos. On commodity front, gold is trading at $1,806.40 at a unit price of -0.31. Coffee selling at $149.90 with crude trading at $74.26. Let's bring you update from the forex and commodities market. That was it for business here on News 9. My name is Winston Taki. Nana Entry and Crosby is standing by for the rest of the bulletin.
Very much, Winston, with the updates in business. We're taking a short break. We are back with sports.
Football pa and nothing a high sense as sponsor Euro 2020 Edia Mauno. Nesa something na ya TV so say who Edia Mauno. Hisense Euro 2020 TV Super Promo. Kahoe kwajo brand new Hisense TV and neighbor that for pictures near clear na color near deep sound quality this so dear one it here Hisense TV so dear entry power about down one access you are akona utusa abefu 18th June akofim 11th July Hisense Euro 2020 TV Super Promo ema refi say Hisense nkwa na ma 5 years warranty Hisense Euro 2020 TV Super Promo Ekoso wa Hisense showrooms e Ghana for na nyina kwachu dia na nsenya Hisense everyday prices for everyday people Hisense official sponsor at the Euro 2020.
Did you know that cloth handkerchief gets dirty and wet after wiping your sweat or blowing your nose with it? Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Flora disposable handkerchief. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in a pack, Flora disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief. The Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. For both purchases, call Delta Paper Mail on 0243 033 033.
My name is Feo John Quarter. It's time for sports. Let's go straight to the English capital where the Three Lions of England are playing against Denmark in the semi-finals of the European Champions. You're seeing pictures on screen. It's close to halftime for now. It's 1-1. The Danes, the men from Copenhagen, took the lead in the 30th minute through a beautiful strike that based Jordan Pickford in the goal of the English. And the English reply in the 39th minute. For us now, it's 1-1. Remember that whoever qualifies will play the Azuris of Italy in the final on the 11th of July 2021. For now, it's 1-1, the Three Lions of England and Denmark. Quite interesting. We are seeing the pictures on your screens now. From the English capital, we're going straight to the Japanese capital, that is Tokyo. We are counting days to the Olympic Games, and health experts over there are worried at the number of spectators that will be expected to go to the various stadiums.
Japan's top coronavirus health advisor, Shiregu Omi, said on Wednesday, July 7th, it was important to reduce the number of Olympic officials and others attending events as much as possible to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Omi, speaking to a parliamentary health committee, said it is very important during this period as the number of infections rises and people prepare to begin summer vacations to carry out COVID-19 countermeasures with a sense of urgency. Based on simply the scale of the event and these sports that draw a lot of interest, there's a natural feeling of elation. So having an influence on the awareness of these people is very important. From that perspective, I believe it is very important during this period to carry out measures with a sense of urgency.
Let's now focus on the MTN FA Cup, where Premier Club have qualified for the quarterfinals of this year's MTN FA Cup competition after beating Accra Young Whites by a 0-0 in a match play at Bewu. Let's see the highlights. So there you have Accra Hazelfolk and Kotoka have all qualified to the next stage of the MTN FA Cup. That's your sports. My name is Feo John Quarte. We're going for a commercial break. When we come back, the lady with all the juice in entertainment will bring you the latest.
bring you My name is Harriet Addy, and it's time for me to bring you the latest update in the world of entertainment. Stay tuned for more. The 2021 Cannes Film Festival is underway in France after its cancellation last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the 74th edition of the largest film gathering kicked off yesterday with an official call for the 2021 competition jury headed by American film director and producer Spike Lee.
The Cannes International Film Festival reopened yesterday after cancellation of its physical edition last year. For 12 days at the Cannes Film Festival, coronavirus will take a backseat to glamour, intrigue and drama off-screen and on-screen. Leo Carax's musical Annette opened the event yesterday, followed by films by Wes Anderson, Sean Penn and filmmakers from around the world. It represents a huge step forward to normality in the film industry. Cannes organizers are attempting the first full-scale film festival in the coronavirus era, despite worries about the Delta variant, which is spreading fast across Europe. Masks are required at the festival event, and attendees are required to test every 48 hours. But moviegoers can sit next to each other, and the festival has no virtual component. There is an impressive lineup of films on the schedule this year, meaning famous faces like Jessica Chastain and Marion Cotillard to Bella Hadid will be gracing the Croisette red carpet and ascending those iconic stairs. The jury, headed by Spike Lee and accompanied by director Marty Diop, Mylene Farmer, Gyllenhaal and 4 others, will unveil its list of winners on Saturday, July 17, during the...
Well, that's it for entertainment news on News Night. Over to Crosby and Nana for the rest of the news.
Thank you for entertainment. Coming up next, the latest on the foreign front. In international news, an unprecedented legal drama is gripping South Africa as former President Jacob Zuma urges the courts to block a midnight deadline for police to arrest him.
It is unclear whether the police will stand by the Wednesday deadline, as last week South African Constitutional Court sentenced him to a 15-month jail term for contempt of court after he failed to attend the corruption inquiry.
That's how I draw the curtains down today's edition of News Night on Dr. Issa Street Metro Television. Thank you so much for watching the program. My name is Noble Crosby Aden.
My name is Nana Iwanchi. Good night.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Are you tired as a consumer?